G'day, Stu from UAVfutures here, and today we're going to be checking out these bad boys right here. Now what these are the Fatshark Dominator HDV2s. Now these are Fatshark's top of the range, I guess, FPV goggle. Now the reason this is so important to review these is because I think these might be getting a little bit discontinued soon. I know that the HDV3 is on the way out, so I really wanted to get in and get my review of these done ASAP. Now I know you guys love my special edition Fatshark goggle review. I'll leave a link to that somewhere up here or down below. And I've also done one on the Dominator V3s, so I think it's going to be a very interesting take to put these on the bench and see just how they compare to those other models, and hopefully to help you guys decide what sort of FPV goggle is going to be right for you. So what we're going to be doing, we're going to be sticking them on the bench, we'll have a look at everything that it comes with it, and then we'll look at some of its features and the things that it can do. Then we'll take it out, and I guess we'll give you some field impressions of my experience with them, and if there's anyone else around, we'll try and get some of their experiences as well. And we'll check out some of the DVR. Anyway, enough rambling from me, let's stick them on the bench and get started. Alright, now when you pick it up, it is going to come in this little case right here, and we'll probably briefly go over what's here because the important part is these FPV goggles. But you're going to get some pieces of foam, and that's actually important. We'll talk about these a little bit later on. You're going to get some HDMI adapters and also some parts to plug into your charger, some different AV ports, so if you want to use a different receiver or a ground station or something like that, or have the video feed flying out to somewhere else. You also get a HDMI cable as well as your Fatshark battery. So let's jump in and talk about probably the two exciting parts, and that's the battery and also the goggles. Now because it's such a small part, we'll probably talk about this part very briefly, and then we'll have a look at the main part. So they do come, the Dominator HDV2s come with a 2S LiPo 1800 milliamp hour battery. Look, they're not a bad battery, but they're not the best battery. A lot of people do mod them. I like how they clip into the side of the goggle right here and they don't sort of move around. And I know you can upgrade to put some bigger ones in here, so a lot of people out in the hobby at the moment are making their own ones. But you also don't want them to be too heavy, so they're sort of weighing on the side of the head. So really, look, it's probably just a pretty standard battery, but they do have this little cool feature where you can push this and check your charge on just how they go. It is noted though that Fatshark, these goggles will start telling you that they're going flat well before this is sort of getting near its flat capacity. So that's something I think they do need to change. Right, and now onto the good stuff. Let's have an actual look at the HD goggles themselves. So what does the premium model of the Fatshark FPV goggle actually look like? So we'll go through a bit of an overview on what's on here, and then we'll talk about the features. So I guess on the outside, you've got some space for a receiver, and that does come with a little plate, although I've got mine somewhere because I've been using it a fair bit. On the top, you've got some controls for controlling your display. You've got some little options just here to changing your channel on a normal receiver, but I never use those because I'm using a different receiver in here which has a little tab on the side. On this side, you've got some options for changing your audio out, and some other options, I guess, regarding this one's for your head tracker, and this one's all about your DVR. On the top side just here, you'll notice that you actually have a little bit of a fan control. So this is very standard in the Fatshark goggle range right now. So all you have to do is plug in your balance lead right here, press this button, and the fan will spin up, which is great on cold, foggy days because you used to get some very foggy lenses in here, but that's not the case anymore. On the underside, I guess you've got two sections where you can adjust this perfectly for your eyes. So some little IPD adjustments depending on how close or far away your eyes are apart. Just here you've got the option to turn your internal receiver on or off, which is, you might say, Stuart, why would you want to have that off? Well, if you are going to be using a ground station feed or plugging in from somewhere else, that's why you've got that one. Of course, you've got your little headphone jack right here. I think this is for your head tracker over on this side. And then this part is probably one of the most useful features of the HDV2s, is this HDMI adapter right here. And what this lets you do, if you want to hook this up, I guess, to your Phantom, or more importantly, if you want to hook this up to your Hot Prop simulator on your computer, you can practice flying around with the feed directly going into your goggles. people might not agree with me or might disagree just here, but I love how these don't come with a receiver module, because if you're going to be spending this much money on a goggle, don't put in a receiver in here that I'm not going to use. So I actually like the fact that they don't come with one of those, not dodgy, but one of those less featured Fatshark original receivers, and that lets you buy some of these things. So this is like, I think this one's a real ACC sort of diversity module. You can get a bunch of different types, but what you can do, you can simply slide that in, and this is going to let you select a whole bunch of different options and do a whole bunch of different things and get awesome diversity. You can put a patch antenna and also a circular cloverleaf antenna on here. So I really like the fact that you can switch this module out and put in a much more high performance or featured packed little module just here. Now on this side you actually have your little head tracker module, or a place where you put your head tracker, so that's going to go in right here. And this is also the option where you'd plug in your ground station. Right there's your little barrel plug, so that's exactly where you plug in your LiPo. I don't know what happened to my voice then, LiPo. So that simply clips in right here. And then we come to the good stuff right here. And the good part in here is these little screens. Now these screens are awesome. They are so immersive. The field of view in these is 50 degrees, so it feels like it's completely wrapping around your face. So it makes you feel like you are actually sitting inside the quad. And they have a really good resolution as well. I think it's 800 by 600 there in a 4:3 aspect ratio, which is pretty cool because that's also the same aspect ratio that comes from our craft or from the most common FPV cameras. Now speaking of this is actually probably a talking point because this is really personal preference. If you want to have a look at I'll leave a link for the Dominator V3, so there should be a little video up here. The Dominator V3s have a different aspect ratio. So they're 16:9 and that's the more widescreen or cinematic. And these ones I guess are the more box screen or the old style TVs, but these ones are much more immersive, whereas the other ones I think are much more center focused. So that's just my experience with them. And goggles are such a personal thing. I really recommend people sort of try those out, and you really need to find out which one is right for you. But regardless, these have fantastic resolution. So these are the most highest resolution goggles that you can get in this sort of Fatshark style. Just here you've got space for an SD card, so I think I've got one sitting in there actually ready to record, and that's very important because you can just record your DVR straight on here, which is great, and you can also play it back. So if you happen to be flying around and you lose your model and you lose your signal and you're not 100% sure where you were, you can always watch back your flight and see if you can get some clues on where you sort of lost your model. Now, while we've got the goggles this way, I want to make this point because I know a lot of people say that when they get these goggles, they have blurry images on the outside. And you know what? I did too, until I switched the foam out. So what I've actually noticed, this is the other piece of foam that comes with the Fatshark kit, and I found that when I had the thicker one in here, I had blurred stuff on the outside, and you'd find the edges of the images were a little bit blurry. But when I put this thinner one in here, it was clear as a bell. So if you're one of those people out there who's having issues with some blur, definitely try sticking in a thinner piece of foam in here and just see if that does make a difference. Look, it could just be me, but I found that really worked for me because I was a bit disappointed to find that, yeah, these were blurry on the outside until I put in the thinner foam and that problem was resolved. So I was very, very happy to find that it's such an easy fix. Of course, they're very, very comfortable on your face like most of the Fatsharks are, and the weight is coming in at 192 grams as it is, so very, very light just there. And I've got to say they are a very comfortable goggle on your face. Like all Fatsharks, actually, they fit me very, very well. Now this little DVR recorder up here, this can take up to, I think it's a 32 gigabyte SD card, which is going to take you pretty much years to fill up. So if you get one of those, just stick it in. And you can also set it up through the menu inside just here to automatically start recording, because I know a few people have been surprised by that, but yet you can just set it up to auto record, which is a very, very handy feature. Now speaking of this, what I actually want to do, let's take this out to the field and we should be flying it around. I'll record some DVR footage and I'll talk about my experiences with it. And if there's any other pilots out there, I'll give them these, and we can also get their impressions on them as well. Rightio, so this is actually flying around, just so you guys know a bit of reference, we're using one of the new Eagle cams, so I've got some things to say about that as well. But let's talk about the Fatsharks. So yeah, this is just the straight DVR of the Fatsharks, and the first thing I want to say is it really does take getting used to. So switching between the 16:9, sort of the wide cinematic sort of aspect ratio, to this 4:3, it definitely a lot of people have different opinions on it, so it's something that is very, very personal. I know I keep saying that, but get out there and test as much as you can and try them out for yourself, because it's sort of feels a little bit funny switching between one back to the other. So I feel really fortunate that I've tested out a lot, but I know it can seem a little bit weird when you first try them on. Anyway, so the goggles, I think they fit really nice, and it does really feel very, very immersive on your face. So it is sort of, you can really notice that sort of wide field of view. And to be honest, I don't know if that helps so much when you're flying, because I've found with the other goggles, when I've got the Dominator V3s on, I feel much more focused. And even that image is stretched a little bit more on the Dominator V3s. In this one, I feel like there is so much going on and my eyes get more of a chance to glance around, and maybe that's a little bit more distracting. I'm not 100% sure. Now, of course, this is just my opinion because these probably are the most common racing pilot goggles out there. I know most of the pros anyway that I've seen have used these. Steel uses these. I think Final Glide uses these. So these probably are the most common and popular goggle out there. But that being said, there's still a lot of people who do enjoy the other ones. Now, given the choice, if all the prices were the same, I'm not 100% sure which style of goggle I would choose. It would definitely be one of the Dominators, whether it be the V3s or this one. But once again, you really need to make sure you find the right aspect ratio for you. Now, I'm actually pretty impressed with the DVR quality here because the colors look really good. It seems very vibrant, and I know in the past on some of the older Dominator models, the DVR recording was pretty gross. But this one here is great. So this is probably some of the best DVR recording that I have seen. So I'm definitely very, very happy with just how the DVR comes out. It doesn't seem to show any of the glitching, or this is very, very similar to what it actually looked like when it was flying. So that's a very, very positive sign, because I know in some of my other Fatshark goggles when I've been recording with the DVR that I've had a couple of issues. I've seen a couple of glitches that weren't actually there. So fantastic to see that there actually is some pretty good DVR in here, actually. Very, very impressed. What I'm going to do now, actually, I had two other pilots out with me, a guy called Perry and another guy called Stu. They've got the Attitude V3, so it'll be very interesting to see what they say. And they had some very interesting thoughts on the Dominator these HDV2s compared to their Attitude V3s. Alright, so I just had a bit of a fly with the Dominator HDV2s, and now I've got my mate Perry over here, and he's going to give them a crack. He's usually been flying the Attitude V3s, so let's find out what he reckons as he's flying around. What do you reckon, Perry?
Yeah, they fit my face a bit different. They probably hit the bridge of my nose a little more than my Attitude V3s, but that might be just the foam that's around the edges, because there's a bit of light leaking in the side of the goggles, but that's just a fit thing that could probably be worked out. But as far as the clarity goes, to tell you the truth, I'm not noticing a massive amount of resolution difference.
Do you notice any differences between, what do you notice between your Attitude V3s and these HDV2s?
Yeah, it is a wider screen, but because I'm focused on where I'm going, I don't know whether I'm flying any different. So I am noticing a bit of colour difference as well. They seem like a little more vibrant than my Attitudes, just a little more colour saturation. But in saying that, the flying experience, I don't know whether it's a huge amount different. So, you know, if I was money conscious, then I think the Attitudes would be perfectly okay for me and racing.
Another Stu trying him on, so he's also got the Attitude V3s, so we'll see what he reckons.
I feel cross-eyed. Oh, no, there we go. There we go. I can actually see now.
Alright, so what do you reckon, Stu?
I think it's quite strange, to be honest.
Alright.
My clarity's not very good.
What do you mean clarity?
Well, I'm getting heaps of jelly lines, which I wasn't getting. Oh, there we go. It's disappeared a bit there.
What about in terms of the field of view? So the screen bigger or smaller, or what do you feel like?
Yeah, it feels heaps wider. It's not like the little box I'm used to. Which, whether I'm using it or not, but...
Do you think that's helping you fly?
No, not really.
Distracting?
Yeah, it's sort of... I've got to sort of pinpoint where I'm looking at more, straight through, instead of looking around a bit.
Okay.
Oh, I did it again. Oh, there we go.
And he's crashed.
As I'm down. Yeah. Definitely different. Definitely different.
There it is. There's my review of the Fatshark Dominator HDV2s. Now, something very surprising, and I know a lot of people are going to want to know my experiences between the V3s and the HDV2s. And I've got to say, they are two very, very different goggles. For me, if I was wearing these, this is all about fun, I think, and immersion, and just sort of having that massive field of view. But if someone really said, Stuart, you've got to compete and you've got to perform in this race, I probably would head over to the Dominator V3s, because just that stretch vision makes me feel like I'm a little bit more focused on my flying. Whereas these are much more just it's everything is happening and it's much more fun. I love flying these ones with my micros because I guess it's just a lot of fun and you don't have to worry about anything and it's like a fantastic experience. But yeah, I feel like I might be a little bit more focused with the V3s compared to these, which is strange because these are a much more expensive goggle. Now, if you're looking to get some of these higher end goggles, just know that the V3 versions of the HDV3s are coming out very soon. But I don't know if they're going to be as good as these, so I would definitely be, if you want the most immersive experience you can, definitely think of jumping online and grabbing some of these because these are probably going to be selling out pretty soon, and I don't think you're going to be able to get them anymore because the V3 model will be replacing them. So, but the HDV3 actually has a smaller field of view, so that's a very, very interesting move by Fatshark. Anyway, all in all, a fantastic goggle, and look, if anyone gave you these are some of the best goggles that you can buy. You just need to think, is that aspect ratio right for you? So that's probably the biggest consideration that you need to make. Other than that aspect ratio and the field of view, they are the top of the line goggle as far as I'm concerned because they've got all the features of the V3s, all the things that I like, and a super, super high resolution. Anyway, I'm going to leave you guys with some more DVR footage that I've recorded with these, but subscribe for more FPV related content. Hopefully that helps some of you guys make the decision and find what goggle is right for you, and as always, happy flying!